Okay, I am not religious, folks, but even this shocked me. Ammon Hillman, according to the Greek Bible, he says Jesus was arrested for, and I'm going to play something here for you now to take a look at. This is shocking. This would upset a hell of a lot of people worldwide if this is proven to be true. Now, he's had a lot of pushback on this. This was posted a while back, but I've not yet covered this, so I'm going to cover it now. Take a look at this, folks.
If you had a time machine and you could go to any place in history, where's the first place you would go?
Yeah, I went back to the Garden of Gethsemane.
The Garden of Gethsemane.
It's the public park where Jesus was arrested.
You are obsessed with this.
Yeah, I think
you constantly talk about this moment when Jesus was arrested.
Yeah, it's why is that?
Is this in the Bible?
Yes, it is.
Also, dumb question. How many versions of the modern Bible are there?
I don't know how many.
What's the difference between them all? Why is there why are there so many versions?
For people that have not seen this yet, just a word of warning. If you're religious, deeply religious, you may want to switch off. You may not like what you're about to hear. I'm not saying this is true, by the way, but
depends on the time that they're translated. And if you'll notice, a lot of them will follow the earlier authors. Right? Bible scholars don't read anything outside of the Bible. So how good do you think their vocab is? How good do you think their translation skills are?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the problem. So those translations are generally pretty bad. And that's what I brought some examples of.
Okay.
And this is in the garden, actually, that I brought these slides for.
Okay.
And this is the Garden of Gethsemane. And where are we? We're with Jesus in the first. And he's being arrested.
Okay, so let's give some context.
Yeah.
Let's give some context to this. So who was Jesus and why, and what is so good? What is so great about him?
Yeah, Jesus is a guy who walked around with
So I've always, and again, I'm not religious, I've always assumed the 12 disciples were men. You know, that they're portrayed as bearded men. Being told here that they're not, they're children, which changes things dramatically for me. Like I said, I don't know what to believe. I'm not deeply religious. I know he's had a lot of pushback on this, but I know there's people that support him on this as well. And I know there's people that won't even challenge him on this, and the people that have challenged him on it, it hasn't ended well. There is one guy, I think, I can't remember his name, that wants to challenge him or tried to, and no one's actually gone against him. And the thing is, you've got to do some really deep research to get to to get to the level that he's at. No one really has done that type of research, and he explains it fully in the interview with Danny Jones, which you need to watch. There's a hell of a lot of research he's done. He's not just gone there and just said, "Oh, look, this is what Jesus." He studied it for years and years.
Group of no, I'm just telling you what the text says.
He was just a guy who walked around with
prostitutes and children.
So what was?
It's not my computer that it keeps muting out the parts. Obviously, you just use your brain on what they're saying there and what they're muting out.
So great about
he called his disciples and he calls them his children constantly. Right? Remember, God.
So he's a pimp.
God blesses those who take care of the children. Right? Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
He takes care of these children.
He takes care of these children.
Okay.
There is a female underage called the Paidiska. When Jesus Christ is in his trial, his followers won't admit they're his followers. Right? It's the whole, you're going to deny me. Right? He's all like, I'm going to get friggin' scandalized. Right? And you're going to deny me. When he's in the garden and he gets caught.
Mm-hmm.
And those three Peter, James, and John, they're keeping watch, the text says. They're guarding at a distance. While Jesus takes the naked boy that's been assigned to him, that's what the text says, like a slave.
So the depiction of this event is only in one version of the Bible. Is that right? Is it Matthew?
No, it's in multiple, but the kid is only in Mark.
Only in Mark.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's only like 2 sentences,
And-
right? Stephen, can you pull up the passage?
I've got it here.
Oh, you've got it there. Okay.
Yeah. 1451. It's that first line.
I can pull up the passages and show the different versions.
Yeah,
and
let's
how
do
it
that.
translates as well. What passage is it?
Mark 1451.
1451. All right, cool.
Okay. A young man, what is it? Can you blow it up?
Yeah.
A young man wearing nothing but a linen garment was following Jesus when they seized him. That's all it says.
Yeah. Now look at the Greek.
Oh, yeah.
And it says, a young boy was assigned to him, having wrapped his with a medicated bandage, and they arrested him.
A medicated bandage is what it says.
Sindon. Yeah, I've got the.
Okay, so I'm
I've
comparing
got the.
yours to what this one says. So visibility, I can turn on Greek as well.
Okay.
I would love to see how.
I just want to jump in quickly. Although I'm not religious, I do keep an eye on religious things and stuff like that. And there was the terrible thing that happened within the Vatican just a number of years ago. So, that's a fact that things, dark, evil things involving children go on in these religious establishments, let's say. And it seems to be a common thing around the planet. And there are links to, unless I don't want to fall out with anybody here, but that, I'm not tying anything to any religious person. Let me make this crystal clear to people. But there seems to be a pattern. And when you go back to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and what they were doing back in them days and stuff like that, it was rife. We can't hide from it. It was rife. I think now it's probably just as rife, but it's not as visible. It's just not as visible. That's what I'd say. They can get caught a lot easier, whereas back then. This is a subject that's really close to my heart, and I fucking hate anybody that goes near children.
How this online Bible matches yours.
Check out the.
Is okay. So right here, is that exactly what you're reading?
Yeah, that's what I'm reading.
Okay. Which one of those Greek words is wrapped in a medicated linen?
Epigumnu. This is on the. Okay, let's just start on the first line.
Maybe should we go to his computer, Steve?
Yeah. I'm punching it up.
That's it.
Okay.
Let's go to the first one. The second word in is neoniskos, and that is what we call a diminutive.
Neoniskos.
So it's a little of something else. And what is a neonias? A neonias is a boy.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a little boy.
Okay.
And they called paidiska female prostitutes who were underage.
Okay.
And when I say underage, I don't mean
Did they define underage back then?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not under 18. It's before.
So okay.
Right.
So that was their word for before.
Age was. They didn't set a year.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Right.
The translation here says young.
And was there was there any sort of?
He laughs don't get me wrong. He seems like a quirky character, but something dark about this bloke. And there is something dark, something evil. Sometimes when you look at his stare and stuff, there's something not right. Not Danny Jones, by the way. I'm on about Ammon. It's just something. Just something wrong with that boy's soul, I think.
Moral boundaries when it came to sex or prostitution based on
Not from what I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, generally, in different civilizations, you can still, like in Athens, you can still prosecute for somebody coercing what you and I would say is underage, then before puberty. Yeah, that's still, you can get in trouble for that.
Okay.
But it's not like it's not like there's compensation involved, because, it's not like a crime like you and I consider a crime. It's more like a civil crime. Yeah.
Okay.
Or like being punched.
Right.
Yeah. You've damaged somebody, so you can give them reparations for damaging them.
Okay.
That's what you do. But the pedagogy in antiquity, pedagogue, that person who raises, educates the children, right? That person, that's the centauron, they called them. The centaur. It's their word for past.
Which means what?
Oh, with children.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
You can see how uncomfortable Danny Jones is with this, and I watched the full interview of this. This is just an 18-minute clip of this part, but it took about an hour and a bit, maybe 2 hours, before Danny Jones would even let him even speak about it. He's like, "Should we speak about this now?" And he's like, "Hold on a minute, let's just hold off a bit," because he knew once they go into this, it's like, it's dark, and he knows he's not stupid, and he's had a lot of backlash for it. Danny Jones.
Yeah, and Chiron, remember Chiron? He's a centaur who is the master of Heracles. And now you know why Heracles has his boy Hylas. Do you understand? The sacred mysteries pass from generation to generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, what was so special about Jesus? He was a guy who walked around with kids.
Yeah. Apostles. Yeah. So, what was so special about him?
Was he the only one doing that?
What was so special about, like, oh, and that's perfect. No, he's not. It's called being a laestes.
What is a laestes?
He's crucified between two of these. A lace is defined, and I've got it on the next. Let's see. Oh, here, look. This follows my presentation. So this is what the boy that was with Jesus, this is what he was with him, doing. He's following him. Notice they use this term sunakuletho.
And
right?
Where do you get this from? This image?
Thank you to the Victorians from Oxford, who have given us this wonderful, fantastic lexicon of ancient Greek.
Okay.
1850s.
Okay.
After that book that you just had was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Was
written.
Okay.
And here it is. And notice that it's using soldiers. It's using term for soldiers and slaves, right? So this kid is not just hanging out with Jesus, right? People have tried to explain this for a while. What was the kid doing with Jesus, right? Okay. Anyway, let's go on to the next one.
Double click.
Yeah. What was he doing with Jesus? And, if it was just like one bit of text, you could think, right, okay, they've just worded that differently. But the fact it's repeatedly used and these weird terminologies are used describing what was going on, I don't know. I struggle with it. I hope it's not true. I really do. But when you look at, like I said, when you look at what's going on the planet and some of the things that go on involving religion and things like that.
There you go. Now hit the green button.
Up. Look, this is what the kid is wrapped on his gumnos. And you say, what's gumnos? Gumnos
fine
is
cloth, usually linen.
Yeah. Fine cloth. Look where it's, look at the second line. It says, busines telemones, right? Uh-huh. So they're wrapping things in this
used
fine
for mummies.
Cloth, right?
And surgeons' bandages.
Mm-hmm. And bandages. And that's where I get it. On my end, when I'm reading the medical authors, they're all saying that you impregnate linen with drugs that you're going to treat the wound with, right? That's kind of makes sense.
You impregnate women.
No, linen. I'm sorry.
You impregnate linen.
Don't impregnate the women.
With drugs.
Yeah.
To treat wounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
This is the original text, and this right here is the translation that we have right now, which is, I'll punch it up for people. nothing but a linen garment.
Yeah, notice how they took it from a bandage and turned it into
Who did this? Who's responsible for this?
crappy translators. People who do not work with the Greek. If you bring up the next one,
Is this an accident or is this intentional?
No,
These
it's
translations.
intentional stupidity.
Are they intentionally leaving this shit out of the Bible? Because
no, it's bad training.
Oh, okay.
It's just bad training.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Now watch this one.
I am
He's confident,
beyond
isn't he?
proud to launch a
Confident in
brand
what
new
he's
training
saying.
for people
Can't
that
deny
are
that.
small on time.
Okay, so that last one had businos on it. Well, what is the businos? It's fine linen bandage, right? They give you at the top, but then look at the reference on the second line. That's Euripides Bacchae. Okay, so this is something that they're using within some kind of religious ritual. And look at number 2 at the bottom. Roman numeral number 2, porphyrus. That's Hesychius. And who's Hesychius? Hesychius is a lexicographer from the 4th and 5th who comes in, and he has access to these ancient Greek lexicography texts, right? So before anybody was having any kind of substantial literature, the Greeks were already at the level, and these are ancient Greeks, they're already at the level of creating a language that is so highly specialized, we're still trying to translate it.
These translations that you've just pulled up, what does this have to do with, or what does this tell you about the scene of Jesus in the park?
That's exactly what this verse says right here. It says,
Can you zoom in on that a little bit?
Yeah, can we?
There you go. There you go. You just did it.
Yeah, and so he's, what happened? So Jesus is there, and it says the kid dropped the bandage and ran off. That's exactly what that says. The
Okay.
kid dropped the bandage and ran.
If that, I don't speak Greek, but if that's what it says, why is that saying that? Why is that saying that? And I know this is going to anger people, this video, and people just they don't like it. And I expect a few hate comments of that. But listen, if you want to come and have a conversation with me on my channel, either this channel or my TikTok channel, and explain to me why he's wrong and why this can't be true, come on up, please. More than welcome. As many as you want. Come and tell me. Like, it's not really the UFO stuff, this, but it's interesting because religion's a big part of the planet. And this would be a massive shock to find out that I said this on my TikTok video right once, and something went flying off my kitchen side. Honestly, I'll share the clip of it. I'll do a short on that. It was scary. It actually made me shut up about it. But if Jesus was arrested and thinking for this, it would change everything, and it'd upset a lot of people. And I don't think a lot of people would want to believe it. It would
Off naked.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it says specifically in 51 that it was epigumnos, and epigumnos is on his private parts.
An epigumno, which is the bandage that's soaked in drugs.
The seam down that's on there, right? And why? Why is Jesus with the kid? Remember when he first walks in the garden, he falls over, he stumbles over, and he's in pain. He's going through the exact same symptoms that doctors will describe
Jesus is?
of the drug users. Yeah, it's in this chapter. It's in Mark 14. Yeah.
So he's tripping.
It says that he's exceptionally fearful. Right. So it looks like he's in some kind of psychotic fear.
Mm-hmm.
And he's screaming about, take it. Don't let me do it. And he's with his kid. He's with this kid at the time. Right. And he ends up with stuff on his face. Stuff that is like big drops of porphyrin.
I'm talking about bodily fluids.
Blood is how
Blood.
it's typically, no, that's how it's translated. It's not the blood that he's got. It's purple. And he's got an antidote from the kids. That's the galene, is the kid's seed. Heracles has to have.
I don't know about you guys, but it's hard to listen to it. Because imagine being like I said, I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I'm just trying to put my mind into those people that are deeply religious and devote themselves to Jesus and all this kind of stuff. to see this man saying this, how that would affect me if I was deeply religious. Like, I'm shocked, right? Really shocked. And I'm not even religious. I believe in God, but I don't tie to any religious book or anything like that. I just think there is a superior being, and I think everybody should be able to just pray in their own time. They don't need to go to church or anything like that. Don't need a book. Just be a good human being, and pray in your house, in your bedroom, wherever. Yeah, for you people, I feel sorry for you. You've not done anything wrong, but you could potentially be following something evil. Let's just say it.
Have Hylas. He has to have his boy. Zeus has to have Ganymede. On the Priapeic side, they call it Ganymede's. And the question is, do you drink from Ganymede's?
I don't.
Well, that's why you're not in charge.
Yeah, probably.
Something cuckoo about him. And there is something.
All right, bring me back down to earth here. What's going on in the park again? So Jesus has the purple on his face.
Yeah, he's got the purple on his face.
So Jesus is having some sort of a psychotic fit, right?
He's having some kind of overwhelming emotional state. It's hitting him so hard, he's falling on the ground. So he's got something on board that's causing him to stumble.
And it's 4 a.m. in the morning.
It's 4 a.m. Yeah.
And he's got and who
he just came from the
who wrote this, by the way?
Party with the kids.
So it's 4 o'clock in the morning. He seems like he's off his head on chemicals. Don't want to say the word, and he's with young people.
He just came from
Did one of the cops write this? One of the cops that arrested him?
No, this is Mark. Yeah,
Mark was there.
Well, no, Mark is telling you the secret things that you're not supposed to know.
So how does Mark know if he wasn't there?
Yeah, well, I don't care if he does or doesn't know. The fact is he's saying them.
Okay.
And that's what's scary.
Well, how do we know Mark didn't have an axe to grind against Jesus? You want to make Jesus look like a bad guy and make him look like a weirdo or a crazy person.
He could, maybe. I don't know, for all I know.
Right.
That's why I say we have to stick with exactly what the sources say.
The point is that this is take it for what it's worth. This is what Mark said.
Yeah. And
Mark was not there.
No, it's Peter, James, and John, and the kid.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Mark, where did Jesus come from before this?
Mm-hmm.
In the scene, he came from the place where he was with all the kids in the upper room. That's where they came from, right?
In what room?
In the upper room. It's just the way to refer to the place. Look, it was shady, right? This is part of the cops. This is part of what the cops have on him, right? He sent out a couple of his boys to go scout out a place. And when he told him, hey, you're going to come to this guy, and he's standing there and he's doing this, and you got to approach him and say, Jesus's boys, where do we need a place for Jesus to celebrate? And he says, take him in here. And he finds a guy, and they take him up, and they get a shady backroom business. Remember, what does Jesus do with his boys? We all know this. That's why we're a crowd, and we're angry, and we want Jesus crucified. Now you understand why there was a frigging crowd there. Yeah.
Yeah, if this was true, there would be hundreds of thousands of people wanting to see him executed.
A little bit brutal with him, weren't they? Well, yeah, they had good reason to be. He was with those 12 underage kids in that room washing feet. And you got to get it when you wash feet. Have you ever washed somebody's feet?
Not that I can recall.
How about a 12-year-old boy?
No, absolutely not.
No, why wouldn't you? Do you have some kind of problem with Jesus?
Apparently I do.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's too bad, because he ends up in the garden after this with the 3 older ones, and he says, keep guard while he takes the young kid off to the middle of the garden. In the meantime, they're falling asleep while Jesus is rolling around in agony and doing what he's got to do to get for the Galene from the boy.
Mhm.
And that's the mastery here. The boy has some kind of antidote.
Mhm.
Galen describes yeah, it's not milky.
Galen describes this.
Yeah, as long with the girls exudate from their breast, you can milk.
Honestly, it's knocking me sick listening to this.
No, you can.
I did not know that.
Okay, we can medically. Probably has antibodies in it to whatever the venoms they're using. Because these same girls, you cut them.
And this stuff,
You cut them and you wrap them with the snake venom. And that's why we all hold up serpent, right? We all know it. You see my tattoo, right? It doesn't
Which tattoo?
It doesn't say it was on a pole.
Show me the tattoo you're talking
It says
about.
it was on a tattoo. I'm just any of them.
Oh.
Just any of them.
Oh.
I'm waxing poetic. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Galen talks about this that boys and girls create, and he talks about this being used as an antidote to snake venom specifically.
It's the Galene with. It's a Greek term that means the calm after the storm. Galene.
Okay, guys. Well, that was hard to listen to, I'll be honest with you. Even harder for people who are religious and for people that this subject touches you personally and stuff like that. And it does. This kind of subject affects me in a way because, you know, there's things I've gone on in my family, which, you know, I cannot stand people that do things like that to children, anything like that. And this is supposedly what Jesus did. All I'll say to you is, if there is someone out there who wants to come up and speak to me, we'll have as long a discussion as whatever you want, and you can come through and show me whatever you want to disprove what he's saying. Come on up. You're free to come on up. At the minute, nobody's really challenging Ammon, which worries me. Yeah, I'm going. Good night. God bless.